information. We can only take in so much information. So Patricia listens. I know when she's, when she's at somewhere, she's listening very well. So I would want to ask this question to Patricia. Patricia, out of everything that was presented or put out in education, what stood out for you?
Well, for me, it's always standing out, and it doesn't go away. It's the brain. I mean, I am so fascinated with the brain and the knowledge that the brain runs the body. The brain is like a supercomputer without. And every time we talk about the brain and I think about the supercomputer, I always think of, in the computer terms, garbage in, garbage out. And then I'm thinking, we really need to get an understanding of why we need to nourish the brain and not to be putting garbage in. And then when I met Cheryl, and we chatted about the brain, and we exchanged all the facts about how much energy the brain requires, how much oxygen, how much nutrients. And it's not a lightweight. We don't need 2% of the 2 to 3 pounds. It's actually a heavyweight for us. And so for me, especially where I was at the point when I met Cheryl, I was going through, post-menopause, things that have been happening in my life. My health wasn't the best. And going back from when I was a little younger than him, in the old days in our country, in Trinidad, we didn't go to doctors, they came to us. So if you got sick, you'd make a call to the doctor, and then you'll see him coming up in his limo to make the house call. And I remember since I was, I think about 3 years old, as soon as we were getting fever, my mom would be calling to send in for the doctor. And I'd look through the window and I'd see his car pulling up. And I'd run into the bathroom, wash my face, and just freshen up and say, I'm good. I don't need any doctor. Because I disliked, from that very age, I knew I didn't want to take any medication, I didn't want to take any meals, and so I was always perfectly fine when the doctor came. So when I came to Canada and I got all involved in the world of banking, which was my career before being a nutritionist, then my health got off track. So for the last 4 years, 5 years actually, when I studied to become a nutritionist, coincidentally I met with Cheryl, and I always use myself as the guinea pig. Anything that comes up to me, I try it first. So her and I had a lot of discussion, and I started to try, and before I even introduced it to my husband. And what I noticed right away was a lot of the things that Christine has also mentioned, it was the energy level. I was always not a morning person. I couldn't function without 6 cups of coffee before 9 o'clock. And that started to reverse, and now I get up, I do my best work in the morning at 6 o'clock. And today I haven't had a coffee. I mean, I could have one, but I don't have to have it. So for me, for my own personal journey, as Angela would say, she likes to use that word, it was about getting my stuff together and getting better, feeling more energetic. And people are telling me, even Janet told me this morning when she met me, she said, boy, your skin looks good. So to me, that's, that's why I like to hear those comments. So I had to work on myself first, and I'm still working on it. And next, I had to introduce the product to other people. So in terms of what other people are telling me.
Share a couple of things that stand. I know she shared.
Yes.
I could come up with it.
But lots.
But yeah, come up with it.
And again, Christine shared a lot, but one of the things that stood out with me, one of the first things was that a gentleman that an older man that I gave the product to, he got up and what he said is that, I can't tell you what it did for me, but I can tell you when I stopped taking it, I had to come back to it. So he found that, it was only when he stopped taking it, he had to get back on it. So that was his testimonial. Another one, I worked with a homeopath, and she did some testing on me with my heart, because we have heart issues in the family, so I wanted to see where I stood chronologically and biologically. So she did this testing, And she showed it to me and she said, boy, whatever you're doing, you're doing something right, so what are you doing, that's different. So I looked up my watch on Auum from my purse, which I always carry. And I said, well, the only thing really that I'm really consistent with is this oil. And then she says, well, I can test it. When she put it on a room machine, I don't understand the technology behind it, but that's fine. And she said, I haven't seen this before, but this is really good. This is telling me that you need this for your brain, your nerves, your eyes, and everything. And I said, oh, you should come and do my seminar, because that's what I tell people that this product is good for. So what happened was that she started to use it herself, and she has a few clients that suffer from depression and at our nest, and she started to introduce them to the product. And then she called me up and she said, I need more of this, because this client that I gave it to, her husband came with her for the next visit, and he was saying how much calmer she is. She's still on some meds, but how different her behavior is and calmer, so they wanted to get more of the product. So now she's introducing it to her clients. And so.
But share this little stat here around that machine test that we did. So there's I
So
think
you want me to
it's the
share my
age, right?
results?
Yeah, if you would, because I think.
Okay, what it does, it measures, it's actually a machine from Germany, and they're very advanced on high tech, and it's actually FDA approved and Health Canada approved, and it tests your arteries and your capillaries and everything, and it gives you feedback on what your biological age is compared to the chronological age. So you could be 25 years old, and your biological age of your heart, the cardiovascular system, could be 60 or 70. So Diane is shaking her head because she had it. So anyway, I said, before I introduce this to my clients, I need again to do it myself and see what I think. So I did it, and my last year, my biological age was 60. No, my chronological age was 60, and my biological age was 37 of my body.
Yeah,
So that's when she said, well, you must be doing something, whatever you do, and keep doing it, and what is it you're doing? And so that's what it is. It's called the digital pulse analyzer.
So, and most people can't see that. I'm sure you could not have. You couldn't come up with that yourself. Going, okay, my cardiovascular is now. I know where I am, but this is where I have these kind of measurements. But that's why I had to say the number, because I knew that the number was much lower than when we think it's better. Some people think it's better, okay, by 10 years, by 20 years, but it can be in. And of course, so now if she takes double the amount, we're expecting to go out as a 20.
I'm going to do it again.
And she'll do it again. And she's going to have the desire and set the intention that she's going to be 30 the next time she goes on the machine. It'll be fun that way. But around the brain, so just one more last thing. Around the brain, I know this is a very important area, but there was one person who had a result with it, and I'm thinking of Joy.
Yes.
And Joy had a very special result with it. Can you share what her result was? And some of that might be switching from the sub-D to the D3. I know there's some before, and maybe even Diane could comment on that. But it does absolutely still have to do with the brain. So maybe you could share.
Well, I know the first thing that she noticed, Joy had a mini stroke, one of those, the eyes, something, stroke. And one side of her face was sort of twisted. And after taking the oil, she noticed that it's gone. She's like, perfect.
And there was the one key thing, I'll never forget the time, and RJ was there too. She says to me, she goes, and she's looking at me, because I'm having a conversation with her, and she's like grinning, big grin. And I'm going, so how's it going? She's grinning, she's going, I can smile on both sides now. I couldn't smile before with both sides. So the connections of the nerves and obviously the brain, right? pull hundreds and thousands of chiropractors out there, and they just focus on that, right? The connection within the, within what's happening in the brain comes deeper and comes, I know this is face, which is closer to the brain, but this is what happened to her, and I'll still remember, I can still see her, and where I'm standing in the room, and she had this big smile. So after she started with the D3A, but I appreciate you, Patricia, coming up and sharing. I think it's the shares that matter.